last thing, guys, before we get to our rant, NBA. There's been a lot of talk
Mhm.
about who should be the next face of the league in the NBA. Obviously, LeBron is older. We keep saying we don't know how much longer he's going to play, but it can't be more than another couple of years. Steph getting up there in age as well. And then when you start looking at the next crop of guys, like there's always kind of been a face or a couple faces of the league, right? I mean, Magic and Bird, Mike, then Kobe and Shaq. Like there's always been that guy or two. So when LeBron and Steph kind of phase out, who would you say, Britt, is the next man up to kind of be the face of the NBA?
There's so many different directions I could go in this. I could go with this. So many different ways. I know a lot of people will say Wemby. You know, Wemby is the next big thing.
Yeah.
But what I look at is the player relatable? I'm not sure if Wemby may be a superstar, but I don't know how relatable he's going to be to everyone. And that's the same thing with Luca. It's that relatable. I relate to you. You know, you're similar to me in a way. I'm not sure because a lot of people, well, at least here in the States, they don't really know these guys personally, you know, because they come from a whole nother country,
Yeah.
basically not a different world, but to a lot of people, it's like a different world.
Yep.
Um, I thought about Jason Tatum. I thought about him. I thought he would be a good one, but the consistency factor is what is keeps going through my head. To me, he has to get over that hump. But if I had to choose, I have two players, and that's Anthony Edwards. I think he could be the next big thing. You know, talent wise, man, this kid is talented on both sides of the basketball. He wants it. I think he's very relatable. Um, I think he has the right attitude. And a lot of kids are looking up to him already, you
Yep.
know, right now in this moment. And then my second guy would be SGA. The only thing with SGA is they're both small markets, but SGA is really in a small market.
Yeah.
He's over in OKC. I
Yeah.
would need SGA. He probably doesn't want to move, but I would need him to move into a bigger market. So for right now, my number one will be Anthony Edwards. And if SGA can somehow get out of OKC, or at least try to win a championship in OKC, then I could say he could be the next one.
Yeah.
And they don't have no trouble pass. They got
Yeah,
clean
that's
records
right.
right
You
now.
gotta, you gotta, you gotta be clean cut for sure.
Right.
It's interesting. Like the NBA might have a bit of an issue because, I mean, you could maybe argue that the three or four best players in the NBA right now are all like foreign-born players. The
Hmm.
Joker, Luca, Giannis, Shea has played really well. You know, like so does the NBA want Wimby as well? I mean, he's not saying he's one of the best, but he's
Hmm.
obviously up and coming. Like, does the NBA want a foreign-born player to be the face of the NBA? I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. So I think that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But K Walk, what say you? Like, who's the next face of the league?
Yeah, man, I get where you guys are coming from as far as it's the National Basketball Association. What's that in the United States? But then when they win the championship, it's the World Championship of the
Yeah.
world. So look at it from that standpoint. So with that being said, yeah, I mean, you got to look at. I know they're unorthodox. I know they're foreigners, but everyone you just mentioned, Jay, I think you can start from the Joker.
Hmm.
He's just phenomenal. What he did the other night with what I think at 27, 16, and 16, just phenomenal, man. And he does that. It seems to be effortless because he doesn't seem like it just seems like everything's so slow motion for him. Luca, you can say the
Not
same
to
thing.
interrupt you, K Walk, but let me just ask you something about the Joker because he's phenomenal on the court, no
Yeah.
question about that. Is he engaging enough off the court,
Right.
interviews, commercials to be the face of the
Right.
NBA?
No, and I'm going to say no, he's not. And I was going to go that. You can look at these guys. I mean, that's right. 'Cause I think he just denied. What was it Eagle Dawa? Eagle Dawa came to him and asked him if he could be on his podcast. Excuse me, and he just ran away from him. So no, I'm not saying that.
Mhm.
I'm not. No, definitely from that aspect, no. Giannis could come off of that as well. Giannis can have a good day and a bad day depending on they finish
Yeah.
as well. So if we're just going to we're just going to discredit these foreigners, man, even though they're arguably the best players in the game right now, then I don't want to do that, man. I really don't want to do it. But I think you have to look at, you said after Steph leaves, this is no longer a
Yeah,
Steph
yeah, yeah.
conversation, correct? Um, Yeah, Wemby's man, but Wemby's, I know he's a foreigner, but he's more engaging, man. He really is. As a 20-year-old, he just turned 20 last month. So as a 20-year-old, he's starting to get it now, and on the court and off the court as
Mhm.
well. So I'm going to say Wemby's going to be that guy, man. I really do, and I know that you don't want that. Well, I'm not saying you guys don't want it, but it's hard to make the face of the NBA a foreign born player. But hey, they're in here. They're making just as much money, if not more than anybody. They're winning. They're
Yeah.
stats. So why not put them in? They're part of the organization. They're part of the association, I should say. So I'm going to go with Wemby, man. I do like Wemby, man. I really like where he's going to. He's going to grow. He's 20 years old. He's getting it slowly but surely. So I'm going to go to Wemby. I just don't see any other guys out there. I mean, KD. It's KD. I mean,
He's
KD is on
he's
there.
missing that it factor. Like
Yeah,
he's
I
a great
mean,
player, but he just doesn't have that it factor to me.
yeah,
I
KD.
don't think
right.
I don't think it's anybody discrediting anybody from the international level or from overseas, coming from overseas. I think again it's just going back to reaching back. We just talked about Cam Newton earlier, how he goes into certain communities, he reached back to
Right.
these kids, he becomes more, he gets to their level, he wants to relate to them, he wants to talk to them, he wants to speak to them, and not just through a podcast, he wants to touch them. you know I see that in the Anthony Edwards. He's from here, he's relatable, he wants to come back, he home to help his communities and so forth. Those guys are going to help their communities. They're just going to help their communities at home.
See
So,
that, and
and
that's the part. If we're
so
gonna if we're gonna look
when
at
they
for that
go
thing.
home, yes, they're going to reach back in their communities and so forth. But the number one money maker for the NBA right now is in the States. They're still making money overseas. Don't get me wrong; they're making a lot of money overseas.
Yeah,
Um, but their number one money maker is TV deals and so forth within the States. So, and that's where I was coming from. Anthony Edwards has the talent of all talents. Like, this kid is beyond talented.
I'm
But
not.
I
I
can
can't
see
look at
why
it that
you
way though.
put,
I can't look at it that way
but I
because
can
the
see
NBA
why
is
you
the
put,
NBA. Yeah.
I can see
Right.
why you put one B up there. But I got to go with Anthony Edwards as of right
Okay.
now. Now it could change.
Britt, let me
Like
ask you a
right
question
now.
about Ant, because I think to be the face of the league, right? Obviously, you got to be great on the court. I think we'd all agree with that. Your
Hmm.
team's going to have to be good because it's going to be hard to be the face of the league if you're on a bad team.
He's
And
not
then
on a
I
bad.
think the third piece of that is
Hmm.
there's got to be some level of marketability, right? Like when you
Hmm.
think about Mike Jordan and the Gatorade commercials and the Nike commercials, and then Kobe and Shaq
Hmm.
and Magic and Larry, like there was a marketability around those guys.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying Ant-Man isn't. I'm just saying I think he's going to be great on court. Minnesota's obviously has a good basketball team, although I don't love the market that he plays in. Do you
Hmm.
think he can be a national marketing, like that level of
Are you
charisma,
saying
commercials, all those kind of things? Ant-Man.
national or international?
Well, if because
National?
yeah,
Yes,
like because
national.
to
I
me,
think
like when I
he's
think about the
rising.
face of the NBA, I'm really thinking in the States. I know it transcends the States,
Hmm.
but I'm
You do have
talking
you have a
commercials
Canada
on
team.
TV, engaging, all that kind of stuff. Do you see
I
Ant-Man
do.
as that kind of guy?
I do. And I think it's started. I think it's already started. They just did a whole special on him the other day on ESPN. So
It's because they
that
have
has
nothing else to talk
that
about.
that has that has already started, in my opinion. So yes, I think the face of the NBA could be an Anthony Edwards. It could also be a Jason Tatum. I don't know if Jason Tatum, if people like him in that way. I'm not sure how relatable he is, because I think people get a little testy when they talk about Jason Tatum. For some reason, I don't know why.
Yeah,
It's just a different feeling with him. But I
yeah,
think
I
when
agree with you.
I see kids and you hear them talk about Anthony Edwards and the excitement that they get over Anthony Edwards, I think he can be the potential face of um the NBA. Wemby is just as exciting. Don't get me wrong. I think Wemby is exciting. But again, is Wemby going to go to our communities here in the States and reach back? Anthony Edwards has the potential to do that. Will he? I don't know. It could be SGA. It could be some random mojo. It could be Ja Morant with all his issues that becomes the face of the NBA. but we're just trying to figure out if that's an option. But I do feel like you need a clean record, and Ja Morant's not starting
for
on the right
sure.
start.
I think
I thought it could have been Ja.
Could have been. He disqualified himself.
I think he messed himself up.
He disqualified himself.
Wow, what did he do? What did he do?
Can he redeem himself? Yes, I think he can absolutely redeem himself. So if Ja still has opportunity, I'm going to say Ja, because that excitement is just to another level. Even when people speak his name, it just rings bells. But then I would say Anthony Edwards. It could be a Wemby, but I'm gonna go with Anthony Edwards first.
I guess my whole thing is because I get what you're saying about giving back, going in the community.
Remember, I work with kids, guys.
I'm with you there, but I also think like I don't think you could be the face of the league unless you're getting it from a corporate standpoint as well. Like you could be out in the community all day long, but if corporate isn't recognizing you in that same way, then I don't see you as the face of the league. Like all the past faces of the league were all huge in terms of corporate marketing. So I think that has to be part of the equation in order to be the face of the league.
What do you mean corporate marketing?
I mean
sneaker deal.
I think everyone in the NBA, I think everyone in the NBA pretty much has a sneaker deal. I'm talking about when I turn on my TV. I turn on my TV, I see you all the time. Like you're in every commercial. Like think about the way Steph is. Like he's in these insurance commercials, in this commercial. Like think about how Kobe.
But he wasn't. The thing with Steph is people forget the first 4 years of his career, we didn't even know who Steph was.
Right. You have to winning has to be part of it. But I just don't think it can be just kids looking up. Like it has to be more than that to be the face of the league.
But what I'm trying to say is Wemby and Anthony Edwards, as far as corporate or commercials, they got the same amount of commercials. I think I've seen quite a few commercials with Anthony Edwards. That's what I'm trying to.
I just haven't seen them, and maybe I have. Maybe I'm not watching.
I haven't seen
one.
I think he's in a few Adidas commercials. He's in quite a few number of commercials. So that's what I'm saying. I have seen him. Like I've seen him in my face, and so that's why I picked Anthony Edwards. I haven't seen a Wemby commercial unless it's for the NBA.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
first year in the go ahead.
I was going to say the thing you was about to say, Jay, is that he's the first year in the league. He just turned 20 years old. So, he's not going to get that. They don't want a 20-year-old being the face, but I think he'll ultimately be the face in the next 3-4 years, in my opinion. Especially you got Pop still coaching, and they're going to turn that. They're going to turn that around. They got Pop, and they're going to win, because Pop's known to win. And it starts, just like they back in the day when they had Tim Duncan and David Robinson, they had to start all over. But I think they'll be able to do it, and they'll attract free agents and things of that nature. So I think he'll eventually be the face of the NBA.
I think they want him to be.